Hello friends and welcome back. I am so glad to be hanging out with you today. Right now we're on a walk with this little dude. Come on, Minna. Duxa. It's a beautiful spring day today and that can only mean one thing. It's now time to make some spring pattern inspo roundups. And that's exactly what we're doing today. Hi guys and welcome back to this channel. I hope you're doing okay and I'm so glad to be hanging out with you today. If you're new here, if you haven't seen my face before, hi, my name is Senia. You can find me at Senia Elizabeth on most of my socials or Sen DIY. Yeah, I'm so glad to be hanging with you. We are actually dog sitting right now, hence the different background if you've been here before. And we are here for a couple more days. The little dude is now behind me, hanging with his toy. How are you? But yeah, as I've said, today we are going through some spring patterns. I've made a Ravelry bundle. Most of these patterns, or nearly all of them, are on Ravelry, so you can find them in the bundle if you would like to. I will show you all the things that I've got in the bundle, plus a couple more that are not on Ravelry, and I'll highlight always like 1 or 2 patterns per section so that this video is not like 3 hours long. But you can find the bundle and all the patterns in it in the descriptions, as well as the individual patterns that are not on the bundle in Ravelry. In all of these sections, I'm trying to include at least one free pattern. Usually it's a drops pattern, but in a couple of these sections I've found other patterns as well, free patterns for us to try. So yeah, let's get into it. Without further ado, I think we should just get right into it. I'll be looking at all the details of the patterns on my iPad, so don't be bothered. I will do timestamps of all the sections, so if you're looking specifically inspiration for spring socks or spring vests, you know, you can go find specific inspo for those if you'd like to surf around. But first up, we've got spring socks. Now, I have never knit or crochet, for that matter, a sock in my life. I tried once. I was gifted this beautiful like knitting kit, and it was absolutely stunning. It had like sakura flowers all over it, but it was very difficult. I've never made a sock. I've never done colourwork, so putting both of those in one project for the first time ever, it was quite challenging because socks are so small. Getting the colourwork tension right, it was very difficult. I had to scrap that. But this year I'm hoping to do at least one colourwork project to learn that, and at least one sock project to learn that, so that eventually I could combine those two and again try that beautiful knit kit, because it was really lovely, just a bit challenging. That's a filming setup. Hi. Get that one. He's looking at me over there like, what are you doing? Talking to yourself, having a little old chin wag, going along your own, crazy lady. It's not playtime, I'm sorry, Han. Later. If you hear dog play noises, he's just beside me. Don't mind him. Anyway, when I was scrolling through spring socks, I found myself being attracted to 2 types of socks. Either the colourwork ones, that we've established are probably not the most beginner friendly all the time, and ruffly socks, which I find so cute when it's warm enough outside to have your ankles out again. Up here in the northern countries we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there, so soon it's time for some ballet flats and Mary Janes with ruffly socks, and I'm so excited. So for the ruffled socks, I've got 2 patterns. I've got the Rosy Ruffles by Drops Design and Midsummer Dancer Socks by Southern Nordland. I absolutely adore these. I think they're both beautiful patterns that are quite okay for beginners as well. Can you hear him growling? He's trying to get my attention. It's time for rest. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Can you hear him?
Yeah. Hey. Oh my god, boy! What is happening? Säg att jag ser det rara. Hei. Sen pitää nyt tehdä. Kuvata sitä juttua.
Anyway, I love both of these. The Drops Design is a free pattern. Probably very beginner friendly. It's stockinette stitch with the ruffle, so quite simple. Perfect for scrap yarn if you've got a couple of skeins just lying around or fingering weight yarn. I especially love the Midsummer Dancer socks because they incorporate this beautiful kind of like pointel knit sort of like hole design all over the sock, which is so darling. This is a fingering weight yarn project with a tension of 30 stitches to 38 rows per 10 centimeters, and it's available in 2 sizes. Now again, I've never made a sock, so I can't really speak on the sizing, but I absolutely love how they look, and I feel like this could potentially be my first sock project for this spring. The Midsummer Dancer sock is available on Ravelry for €6.15. Now my other section of colourwork socks, we've got 3 beautiful patterns, starting with the Daisy socks by Solvara Knitwear, absolutely stunning, and this is a part of a collection. There are mittens and hats and a sweater, I think, all with the same Daisy print. So beautiful. And then we've got the Itty Bitty Berry socks and the Stone Roses socks. And these 2 patterns are both by Stone Knits. Out of all of these, I think personally I would go for the Itty Bitty Berry socks. For some reason, I'm just obsessed with any sort of like fruit or berry imagery in clothing. And these are so cute. These are knit up in light fingering weight with a tension of 34 to 38. This pattern is available on Ravelry for €6.89. And I am obsessed. Our next section is scarves, and now I feel like spring is absolutely the perfect time for a Sophie scarf, but I do not need to recommend that everybody knows that pattern. So instead I've tried to find similar kind of like small scarves, no hassle. You know, I love a big bundled up scarf as much as anybody, but I feel like when the weather gets warmer, it's nice to have just those like tiny ones that will keep you a little bit warm without all the hassle of having a big scarf that gets you overheated. I don't think I've ever before really seen myself as a tiny scarf person, but in these last couple of years with the Sophie scarf boom, I feel like I've really kind of gotten around to that look, and I'm quite intrigued. So here I've got 4 patterns, kind of each being a little bit more adorned or more patterned, I guess. And the most simple out of all of this is the Pinkalicious Shawl by Drops Design. It's knit up with a sport weight yarn, held with a lace weight, and that comes out to a sport weight. The gauge for this is 17 stitches to 28 rows. And I think this could be a very like cute and simple, easy to style kind of a make. These next couple of patterns are a bit more intricate, or I don't know if intricate is the right word, but they have a little bit of a stitch pattern to them. So we've got the Stay Toasty scarf by Kotawakika. Absolutely love, it's a brand new pattern, just came out. Then we've got the scarf number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Absolutely stunning. It's kind of got these like sections of different sort of patterns. And lastly we've got the Gotar Shawl by Sari Nordlund. This is absolutely stunning. Her style is very lacy and kind of romantic, and this is definitely the most lacy and romantic out of all these scarf patterns. It's knit up in fingering weight yarn held together with a lace weight, which comes out to a DK. And the gauge for this is 24 stitches to 30 rows. I personally love these tiny scarf styles with like very simple and plain t-shirts and that sort of thing, in which case these like lace patterns would kind of add a nice little intrigue to the look. This pattern is also one size, and it's available on Ravelry for €7.40 in euros. So our next section is vests, and I've got 4 patterns here. The free pattern that I chose for this is the September Rains by Drops, which I think is very, very delicate. I love the kind of cable structure that it has. And another absolutely beautiful cabled vest that I chose is the Vest the Delight by Manmi Choi. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these names incorrectly, but I love this design. It's so cute. I love the very kind of unique cable pattern that this has. It has a beautiful bow front closure, and it's knit up in Aran weight, which you could say is a bit thick for spring, but then again I feel like vests are the perfect kind of layering transitional piece, so kind of okay for all year long depending on what you're putting under there. The gauge this pattern calls for is 20 stitches to 31 rows. It's available in sizes from 2XS to 4XL, so I would say that's quite a good size range. And you guys, it even has pockets. I am so obsessed with all these pattern pictures. I feel like they're very well done, and I'm very intrigued to see more patterns from this designer. I am not very familiar with her. This pattern is available on Ravelry for €7.27. Oh, and it's another very brand new pattern. It was just published in January of this year. Next up in the vest section, I've got the My Honey vest, which I've been obsessed with ever since I saw it on Instagram for the first time. It's got this beautiful kind of, I guess like honeycomb stitch, and again a lovely bow closure, double bow actually, which is just stunning. And the My Honey vest is designed by Wool and Beyond. Boy, I have to film this. I love you too. The last pattern in the vest category, we've got the Juno vest by Yuka Tamio. Again, a new designer for me. I haven't seen anything by her before, but very intriguing. Really gotta stay tuned to see what she does and what kind of patterns she already probably has. I feel like for spring, I am very obsessed with like back detailing, because oftentimes open back garments can be a little weather confused because they're sweaters or that sort of thing, but then they've got the open back, so it's kind of, is it for winter, is it not, what do you wear underneath? But for spring, I feel like it's perfect because you don't necessarily have to wear anything underneath. So this back detail with kind of like the really modern lace up detail, I am obsessed. It's very cute, very unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. It's a fairly new pattern. It was published in December of 2024, and it's knit up in a fingering plus lace weight, which comes out to a sport weight with a gauge of 26 stitches and 34 rows. This is available in 9 sizes for about €8.52. This is maybe quite minimal for my style, but I absolutely love the back detailing, so definitely on my favorites list. I feel like at least when I'm filming, this feels like I'm running through all these patterns. I don't know how it actually is going to come out because I've been filming for quite a bit, but with a lot of interruptions, so we'll see what kind of a video this is going to end up being. But we shall move on to the next category, which is t-shirts. And now the first pattern here is actually one that I am making currently. I'll grab my whip. So this is the April Snow t-shirt, or sweater tee, what do you call these things? And it's this beautiful cabled design. The cables go in the front and the back, and do they go on the sleeves? I think the sleeves are plain. I think this is just a beautiful, very classic design by Drops Design that has a little bit of intrigue and a very polished look, which I love. It is knit up in a DK weight with a tension of 21 stitches and 28 rows. The size range is from S to 3XL, and it is a free pattern to download. Personally, I've really enjoyed knitting this. I feel like it's a very good kind of cable school, if you will, because there's a couple of different sort of cables. So if you have never made cables before, maybe this would be a good like practice piece, because it is free and there's a couple of different kinds of cables to learn from here. And I feel like, at least for me, it's going quite quickly. You know, anything below a DK can sometimes feel a bit slow, but I feel like DK is just the perfect cable weight, I guess. I am using the suggested Daisy Merino to make this. They have kindly gifted me the yarn, which was so kind and so wonderful, and I will be making a project vlog, so once that's finished, stay on the lookout. In this section, I've actually got another very intriguing free to download pattern, which is the Ranunkel pullover. I don't know if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but it is a beautiful, beautiful piece by Anne-Sophie Velling. She is the designer behind Augustins, which I love. I've been following her for years. But this was designed for Järbo, which I believe is a Swedish publishing house, or like a knitwear publisher. I don't know exactly, but it's a Swedish company. So this design is knit up in an Aran weight, and I love it. Maybe it looks a little weather confused because it's very chunky, but then it's a t-shirt, but I think that look is just adorable. This design features a lovely bow detail at the front and ruffles and chunky sleeves, and it's just darling. I don't think I have anything to knit this up with at the moment, and I have promised myself that I will not buy yarn for anything else except test knits until I've cleared out my stash a little bit. But as soon as I have cleared some out, This is absolutely going on my needles. It's available in sizes XS through 4XL, and it calls for a gauge of 16 stitches to 22 rows. I feel like this would knit up quite quickly. Moving on, next up we've got another, I feel like quite far removed from the previous one style-wise, but it also has bows, so then again, not that far removed. We've got the Sim blouse. It's a very recent pattern because it was actually published this month, which is March 2025. Next up in the bundle, I got the Una sweater designed by Irene Lynn. I've never made anything by her, but I absolutely have to. She's a gorgeous designer. I've also got the Piazza tee by Sari Nordland. I have so many Sari Nordland patterns here, but I've never made one. I have purchased one of her patterns, but I haven't had the chance to actually start it, but that's definitely going on my needles ASAP. And that pattern will be coming up later in the bundle in the sweater section. But in the tee section, I've got still two patterns, first of which is the Campanula tee, which is just stunning. Probably would take ages to do because it's knit up in such small needles. I am so sorry if I say the designer's surname wrong, but Anna Herman Sørensen? I don't know how you say the O there. Is it O or whatever, but Anna Herman Sørensen. I believe she has written also a pattern for a Campanula dress, which is absolutely stunning. It's in testing right now, so definitely got my eye on that for when it comes out. But this shirt is absolutely stunning as well. Definitely would take ages and a lot of patience, but I think it would be worth it in the end. The last t-shirt pattern, or I don't know if you would call this a blouse, is the Ophelia blouse. The designer of this pattern is Tamara Jordan from Starcrossed Knits. Love her stuff. She's got beautiful colourwork patterns as well, and a lot of this like kind of romantic lace details on otherwise very minimal and really polished designs, such as this one. I love these kind of pieces where you can really achieve a lot of different sorts of aesthetics with the same pattern depending on what kind of a yarn you're going for. For example, her sample here was made using black yarn, which kind of, by her own words as well, is very like a witchy aesthetic. But if you knit the same pattern in, let's say, a white, you get like a very classic, romantic, angelic vibe. And I just love those sorts of patterns that really work for all sorts of different aesthetics. This pattern is knit up in a fingering weight yarn with a gauge of 24 stitches to 36 rows, and it is available in sizes, I'm not actually sure how the sizes work here because she says it's available for bust sizes from 76 to 152 centimeters. So how many sizes there are in between that, I don't know, but looks like an okay range. And it is available for €10 and 96 cents. Oh, actually, now that I'm scrolling down, she's got a picture of the size range, which is quite vast. She's got 16 sizes, which is absolutely remarkable. Okay, with that, we are done with the vests, and we're moving on to the sweaters. And now sweaters, I feel like, is probably, well, I don't want to say it's controversial, because it's not. That's such a strong word, but I feel like, I know they're not probably suitable for all sorts of weathers, but where I'm from, in the northern countries, sweaters are definitely an all year long thing. You know, probably you don't need a thick one, but they're great for early spring for transitioning, and then for later spring and summer for the evenings. If you're not cold, there's at least going to be mosquitoes, so you want some sort of a coverage. So in this bundle, I've got all sorts of different sweaters. We've got those early spring thicker colourwork sweaters. I've got some mohair lace weight sweaters, and those beautiful open back sweaters that I already talked about with the vests, one of which is the Augustine's number 8 sweater. Just look at that. She is such a gorgeous piece. I feel like Anne designs super unique pieces, like she's got interesting silhouettes such as this one, and I am absolutely in love. The pattern is available in sizes A through F, so that's 6 sizes. In this Ravelry listing, she doesn't specify what yarn weight she's suggesting, but she says she's held together a New Zealand lamb wool. The yarn name is in another language, so I'm not quite sure, but I believe that's lamb's wool in light fingering weight, held together with knitting for olive soft silk mohair. So that would come out to a fingering weight, I believe. The gauge this calls for is 10 stitches and 14 rows, so quite an open gauge for a fingering weight pattern, I believe. and it's available for €6.98. A couple other open back designs that I've chosen for this bundle are the Lenara sweater by Camille K and the Georgia sweater by Joanna. I absolutely cannot pronounce your last name. Next, I've actually got a couple of crochet patterns, starting with the one I'm wearing right now. This is the Rosemary sweater. It was designed by Kuzo Knits. I'll stand up so you can see a little bit better. Look at that. The pattern was just published like literally 2 days ago as I'm filming. Unfortunately, this is not available on Ravelry. I've linked my project page in the bundle so you can still kind of see it in there, but I will link her own website down below where you can find this pattern available. It's also available on Etsy though. But this is a beautiful made-to-measure pattern. I absolutely love it. You can customize the fit however you'd like. I made mine like quite oversized, but I love it. It's such a cozy and comfy make. I knit this up in like a week. I was supposed to do a project vlog, but I didn't come around to it because I just spit through it so quickly. I kind of just forgot to film. In my next projects, I promise I'll be better. Another crochet pattern that I feel like would be perfect for spring transition time is the Camellia sweater by I Am Lanka. This one is also not available on Ravelry, unfortunately, but I have linked my project page. And as you can see in the picture, or if you've watched my previous video, the yearly roundup of everything I made last year, you will see that I didn't actually end up making the sleeves of the sweater. I made it kind of like a vest sort of a thing, but now I have decided I absolutely have to add the sleeves. I would love to have like the full oversized fit because it's supposed to fit quite similarly to the Rosemary sweater with like huge balloony sleeves. This pattern is constructed by making these beautiful flower motifs that connect at the edges, and therefore it's quite an open design in the sense that like you have a lot of airflow. So even though it's knit up using mohair or alpaca or something like that, you can keep quite cool. I've worn mine in like hot summer weather and I was completely fine, although yes, mine is still sleeveless, but you know, it's so airy that there's not a lot of warmth factor in it. Moving on to some more lightweight sweaters, we've got the Stevia sweater, which I also test knitted. It was my first ever test knit, so it holds a special place in my heart. It's designed by Fiber on Repeat. For a little bit more of a romantic lacy look, we've got the Gal sweater by Masha. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but it's a stunning piece that I've been seeing on my Instagram for ages. It's absolutely beautiful and will definitely be going on my whip list at some point. Another a bit more romantic piece, but in a stockinette stitch, we've got the Poet Ruffle blouse by Fable Knitwear. I love her stuff. I feel like her style is very kind of vintage inspired, a lot of romantic, you know, academia style maybe. So if you haven't checked her out, she's definitely worth the watch. Then lastly, in the kind of light lace weight patterns, we've got a Friedrich blouse, which is actually a cardigan. This is also designed by Johanna. I don't know how to say your name, is it Joanna or Johanna? I hope you don't mind, but she's the one who also designed the Georgia sweater, and she is the designer behind Johanna by Colibri by Johanna. My god, I feel like I've been talking for so long and I really kind of don't have a clue of anything I've said, but we are on the home stretch. Next up, we've got a couple of sweaters that are in my Ravelry queue. They're a bit more lacy designs, starting with the Champagne Pullover by Sari Nordland, which I feel like is the epitome of a lacy sweater. This is a fairly new pattern. It was published in September of 2024, and I feel like everyone was just collectively obsessed with it. It's knit up holding together a fingering and a lace weight yarn, which comes out to a DK weight, and the gauge this calls for is 20 stitches and 20 rows. I feel like it's very unique with this like large crisscross cables and lace in between. It's just stunning, and I feel like it would be a very engaging knit, obviously, because you completely have to rely on your charts. It's so intricate. This is available in 9 sizes, I believe, if I counted correctly, ranging from a bust size of 95 centimeters to 175 centimeters with positive ease. It's available to download on Ravelry for €8.66. Also in this kind of like lacy knit section, I've got a couple of Kutavakika patterns, starting with the Pride and Pearls cardigan, which I have been obsessed with for ages, ever since it came out. I love it. I just haven't found the time to cast this on, but this is absolutely on my queue in Ravelry as well. And the other Kutavekeka pattern that I've got in this bundle is the limoncello cardigan that I actually knit up last year as a test. This one is actually only available in her new book, and I've absolutely loved my limoncello cardigan, and I would definitely recommend anybody who can get their hands on it to check it out. Before we move on to the last sweater category, which is colourwork sweaters, I do want to shout out a couple of free patterns from Dobbs Design. First of which is the blue porcelain, which I was actually supposed to make, but I didn't get around to it because I got busy with school and testing and just life, so I didn't get around to it. But it's definitely on my list because I've got the yarn for it, and it's a very nice piece. I love the fit of it, I love the lace of it, and I feel like it's such a lightweight piece that it really can be worn all year round. Another piece by Drops that I really love is the Bluebell Twist cardigan, and this one is actually also available as a sweater by the same name, Bluebell Twist. But as I said, my last category is colourwork sweaters, and I'm absolutely obsessed with colourwork. I need to learn it. It's a must for this year. And my first pattern that I'm absolutely obsessed with is Fable by Randin Graney. I think she's a fairly new designer. I haven't heard of her before, but I love it. I feel like this is really giving like kind of scalpel vibes, which I am obsessed with scalpel. There's not a lot of details available on this on Ravelry, but it's available to purchase on Etsy for $7. And now that I've mentioned scalpel, I do have to shout out a couple of their patterns, most of which are available as knit kits, which is kind of exciting, but also a little bit of a hassle because you have to ship your yarn from Norway, which can be a little bit costly. But even with that, I absolutely love these patterns and will absolutely need to make at least one of these at some point. I just don't know when that will be. I'm especially obsessed with the Helena Mo collections just because of how much they use colour, but as I was scrolling I also noticed that in the Future is Sheep collections there's available this Granny Teen, I don't know how you would say that, but I feel like that's the crochet sweater that was all over Pinterest a little while ago that I never could find where it was from, but I think it might be this one, so that's really cool. Unfortunately, scalpel patterns are not widely available on Ravelry, so I haven't linked them in the bundle, but I'll link them below. And another very colourful designer that is not available on Ravelry is Runastrick. Runastrick? I think it's Runastrick, because she is, again, a Norwegian designer, and I absolutely love her stuff. So colourful, and she just came out with a new book. I'm not quite sure about the English version because I know it will be available, but at the moment I cannot find it. So I will link down this other English collection, which is a little bit smaller. I think the new book includes all of these patterns that are in this ebook collection, but also 15 other patterns, if I understood correctly when I was still seeing it online. But yes, Runa Strick is absolutely stunning. She does very similar stuff to Helena Mo, I think, and this collection is actually done in collaboration with Helena Mo. And the amount of colour here, the colour work, it's just stunning. I love it. And I would absolutely love to purchase this ebook and make, for example, the Frud sweater, which is the namesake of this collection. Next up, we've got the Flirt Pullover. This is designed by Sophie Thorup, I believe in collaboration with Scalpel, even though I couldn't find it on the Scalpel website, so I don't know how they do these like collaboration designs. But either way, it's a stunning piece. It's got this beautiful like floral design all over it, colourwork design. There's not a lot of details on Ravelry about it, but it's available to purchase on Etsy. And I feel like the silhouette is what makes this like really cool, because it's kind of this like long rectangle that then cinches at the end to make like balloon sleeves. It's such a unique look, and I really love it because it's so flowy. I feel like it would look really nice on just a pair of jeans, but then also if you pair it up with like some silky skirt, it would really look nice as a festive outfit as well. Okay, we have reached the end of this video. We have got some dresses left, so let's speed through those. First, we've got the Stripe Hype sweater by Kutavekeka. I have never been that big of a fan of stripes, but recently I've really kind of gotten around to them. I feel like I understand the hype. Pun intended, I guess. But yes, I love the fit of this dress. I love how the cropped sleeves kind of, I don't know if it gives it a unique look, but just like a little bit more springy look, I feel like. This is knit up in a DK weight yarn, and it's available in XXS through 5XL, which is quite nice. The gauge this dress calls for is 20 stitches to 29 rows, and it's available for $6.90. I feel like this would be absolutely adorable in like spring pastels, like some greens and pinks, maybe a white or a yellow paired with that. That would be very cute, I think. Next up, we've got the Forever Ripped dress by Anne-Catherine Stoll. I love it. It's very polished, very sleek, kind of easy to wear with anything and style up and down. Same as the Dalton dress by Vladimira. I'm not even gonna try and say your last name, I'm sorry. This is a free pattern actually, which is very cool. It's a very sleek, very simple stockinette stitch dress. And I feel like these kinds of dresses would be very cute staples for kind of all year round. Easy to style up and down, easy to layer, just perfect wardrobe staples. And the last piece of this bundle is the Gran Kjol. I have no idea. I think Kjole, however you say that. I think that means dress. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, it's this beautiful dress by Anne-Sophie Velling. Again, the designer behind Augustins. It's this beautiful, beautiful, relaxed puff sleeve dress. I don't know why I feel like I haven't seen this before, or it just hasn't caught my eye before, but now that I've seen it, I am absolutely obsessed. It's stunning. This is knit up in a bulky weight, which is exciting. I feel like it's very different for a dress. It's held together with a lace, which comes out to a bulky still. This calls for a gauge of 12 stitches and 14 rows and is available in sizes A through H and for about €2.79. So very, very affordable. And for a dress also, that's a big project. But with that, we have finally come to the end of this video. I hope you found at least some inspiration in these patterns. I don't even want to think about how difficult this is going to be to edit because I feel like I've been just rambling. I definitely look up to all of you who do these like 100 pattern inspiration videos. How do you manage that? I do not know. But I hope this video made even a little sense. I hope you found some inspiration, and if you did, if you enjoyed, do say hi in the comments, leave a thumbs up or any sort of interaction. I would greatly appreciate it. I loved hanging out with you, and I would absolutely love to hang out again if you would like to tune back in a couple of weeks when my next video is coming out, which might actually be a project vlog. Or if not, then it's maybe a travel vlog, because I still have to edit that one. But anyway, some kind of a video is coming out in 2 weeks, every other Friday or Saturday, whatever weekend, depending on how I manage. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon in my next video.